I'm chilling with rolling out.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? My name is Malik Brown, here for Rolling Out, Meet the Author. And today I'm here with a special, amazing author. Today I am with Miss Noué Kirwan. Miss Noué, how are you doing today?
Good, great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And I forgot to mention, you are the author of the book Long Past Summer. That's why we are here. So I can't forget that.
Yep.
So, just talking about this book, Miss Noué, what inspired you to create this book?
Well, I have been, I would say, like a thwarted writer, or not thwarted, but like aspiring writer that never really kind of felt like I could like do it for a while. But everyone always said, your stories are great, like put them out there. And so pre-pandemic, I had a germ of a story that I'm in a fan fiction community. I won't say which one. And there was a couple in it, and I decided to create like this story kind of around the couple, inspired by the couple. And then after I'd written it, I shared with some people and they were like, this is really good. And so, and I was like, oh, and people said, have you thought of publishing? And I said, really? Okay,
Yeah. That's cool. So is this your first book, or you've written
this is my debut. Yeah.
But you've written stories before this, like
Yes.
short stories, things of that nature?
Yeah, short stories and that sort of stuff. And like I said, I was like a fan fiction writer, so I wrote fan fiction and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So what got you into fan fiction? What kind of attracted you to that genre of books?
Well, like I said, I was always like kind of an aspiring writer. And when I was in my 20s, I tried out for a lot of like script, because initially my interest was actually script writing. So I tried out for a lot of script writing programs. And the way that you get to write a good script is you have to familiarize yourself with works of fiction. And so I was already, heavily into books and TV. And so then I started reading like scripts, like spec scripts by other people, which are kind of fan fiction. And then I found the fan fiction community. And then I was like, oh, these are my people. I found them.
Definitely. So, going into Long Past Summer, if you could give a short synopsis or just a big, what's this book
Big
about?
picture?
Yeah, what would you say?
Well, I mean, it's definitely about a woman sort of falling in love with herself. So that is like the big picture like idea behind it. But it's a romance novel. So there's the aspect, the one sentence. It's about a New York lawyer who finds herself defending her ex-boyfriend against his ex-wife, who used to be her best friend.
That's a lot.
It's juicy is what I say. Everybody's like, it's messy. I'm like, no, it's juicy.
that sounds interesting. And it kind of sounds like one of those like Lifetime movies, or like one of those series.
I was raised on those. Those are like my mother's milk, man. Yeah. Lifetime television for women. That was what I used to do when I came home from school. So,
yeah.
I take that as a compliment. Yes, right. Juicy.
So just going through this, and of course, like you said, this is your intro novel, your first novel. Just how was the process, making this into a book?
So it was unlike anything I had done before. Like I said, I'd written before, but really taking the time to turn it into something that would be publishable. Mm-hmm. It takes more concentration, more like attention to the detail, attention to the things that you really want to say, and the what your ideas, kind of like you were saying, a big picture, like what is it that you want to express to an audience. And it was a challenge, a lot of it, and it was hard work because you have to just keep going back to it and going back to it. Even when you think it's done, you have to like keep working at it.
So I want to talk about, of course, you have the books in the back. I love the setup, first of all. Why Long Past Summer? Why, where did you get the juice to kind of create that title?
So the thought was, because like I said, it's about a woman who runs back into a former love, and he was like a summer love, and but this is many years after that love. So and initially she's very resistant to his attempt to try to rekindle anything. And my idea was that in her mind it's long past that summer that they had, and that's kind of where the title came from.
Definitely. And the I know I asked some authors about, the book cover. Some say, there is a meaning there. Some say, well, I just got somebody to just make a cover for me. But for you, is there a backstory behind the book cover? The colors and things of that nature. Is there any, like, hidden thing that we should know?
Well, no subliminal messages. Definitely not that. But it was a collaboration between myself and my publisher, the art department of my publisher. Told them that more than anything, it was very important to me that there be a Black woman on the cover, so that Black people would know when they came to it that that's what they were getting. Because my name, you don't know exactly what's going on with that. Long Past Summer doesn't really tell you anything. And it was important to me that the story itself be very universal. So even looking at the back of it, you're not going to necessarily know what you're getting. But I was like, I definitely want a Black woman on the cover. And then in speaking with my the art department, they were very interested in having depicting the summer part. It's coming out in the summer. They wanted to give you the summer, so it's a sun that's back there, and it's her and the sun, and then just lush greenery. And they're not to say that there are not a lot of green books, but there are fewer green books. As you can see, there's like spectrums of things, but green books are a little bit more. So we thought, it'll catch attention. People will see it on a bookshelf and be like, "Ooh, look at that Black woman."
Definitely. And I see, you really honed in on, you wanted a black person on the cover. I want to ask you, what is the importance, or, just the importance or the representation of Black authors, or just representation of Black people in books. How important is that?
I mean, it's crucial. I mean, uh, things have gotten very much better than when I was young. But I remember being a young romance and just regular, lit fic mysteries, that sort of thing. And there just weren't, it's not to say that there weren't. I mean, there was, Toni Morrison, there was Maya Angelou, there's Alice Walker, there was Beverly Jenkins in the romance space, there's Walter Mosley in the mystery space, so there were Black writers. So I'm not trying to suggest that there weren't, but there was a dearth of them. There just weren't as many. And so all the stories that I would read, they were always white protagonists. And I really wanted to see myself. Now, I do say that this is an interracial romance, but it was very important to me that the woman be a very proud Black woman that's like seeking, making her way in the world. And I wanted to add to the growing number of stories that are like that, so that people like me, like kids like I was, can read this stuff and be like, oh, yeah.
Do you think there's a certain do you think there's a certain message that you want to send out to, that black woman, that Black girl that's reading your book?
I definitely think that I wanted to say that the love that you deserve. And I use the word deserve, reservedly, because, people have different beliefs about what you're entitled to. And I don't mean deserve as in entitlement. I just mean that the love that you are waiting for, um, it's okay to wait for it. It's okay that it might not come to you immediately. And I think that was like one of the main things. That's kind of why I said that the story is about a Black woman that's falling in love with herself as well, because sometimes the love is also learning to love yourself, and and coming to grips with the fact that it might take a while for everything to fall into place, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. For you, were there any mentors or any people that you really looked up to when writing this book that helped you write this book? Any authors now that you kind of look up to, that you read a lot, that kind of probably got some tips or things from?
Well, I don't. I'm because I'm so new to the space. Most of the writers that I know, and I say no kind of sparingly because it's like internet no, social media no, are also new authors. But in terms of following authors, like I used to follow, I as a romance reader, I like Brenda Jackson. She's a like old school. She's been around forever. Sandra Kitt, love Sandra Kitt. Love Beverly Jenkins. There are lots of Sharon Cooper. Like there's a lot of writers, romance writers that have been in the game for a really long time. And I looked up to them and aspired to them, but I don't know them.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So, and I wanted to touch on something. I think I was reading a little bit about what the book was about.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's taking place in Georgia, correct? Is it taking place in Georgia?
It's a dual timeline. So the beginning takes place in Georgia, and then the end takes place in New York. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any reason why from Georgia to New York? Of course, I know we talked earlier about you being in New York, but why Georgia?
Well, the explanation for that is twofold. So, like I said, the germination of the idea came from a piece of fan fiction that I was very involved in, and a fandom that I was involved in, and that fandom takes place in Georgia. So there was that. But I've always had like this real like romantic idea of Georgia. My brother lives in Georgia. When I've gone, I've enjoyed myself, and so I wanted it to be like a small town girl that comes to the big city, like that kind of story. Except that generally with like the Lifetime stories and stuff, she goes back to the small town, and there she finds her love. And I was like, no, no, no. She's gonna find her love in the city. but but I still like the idea, the small town idea. And I mean, there's small towns all over the place. I actually grew up in part in a small town in California, but for the purposes of the story, I just like the idea, the like kind of slow, lush idea of a Georgia summer.
Definitely, definitely. So, and I want to get into like a fun question. So, when somebody's reading this book, where do you see the perfect setting for them when they're reading this book? Like what are they eating? What restaurant? What do you see this person reading your book?
I actually have an idea about that. So they're out on a terrace, a veranda, at the beach club, except they're inside, under the umbrella with their select adult drink, and they're on their Adirondack chair with their beach towel underneath them, because when they get tired or it gets a little hot, they're gonna put the book down and finish off the drink and go take a dip, but they're gonna come back and enjoy my book.
It seems like you've rehearsed this one before.
No, that's just in my mind. If I had a book that was as juicy and messy as mine, that's exactly where I'd want to read it. And I want to be maybe even a little tipsy when I was reading it. And that's like, where could you do that? You have to be relaxing somewhere. You can't be just tipsy in your house.
Right. It's funny that you say, the book is, I mean, of course, it's romance, but you say it's messy and things of that nature. It kind of reminds me of those type of I don't know if you ever seen the Wattpad stories.
I've listen, I've heard of the Wattpad stories, but I have not read the whole Wattpad stories. But I know, oh yeah, I know. In fact, originally, like I said, the original story that this was based on, I had gotten before I decided I wanted to try to, fill it out and like publish it. Um, I had gotten like from the story, the idea of the story. Some people were like, "Oh, you got to put that on Wattpad after you're done." So yeah. Mhm.
That is hilarious. So I want to ask, of course, like I said, first book. Do you think this romance type genre is your lane, or do you want to venture out and do other types of genres? And if so, which ones catch your attention?
Well, the thing is that what I love about romance, and the reason why I think I want to stay in romance, is that the truth is romance itself contains magnitude. So I can do a straight contemporary romance like this book is, but I could do a mysterious romance with a heavy, I could do a thriller romance, I could do a horror romance even. I could do a fantasy. There's so much that I can do and still stay within because the idea with romance is just that there is a central love relationship. And that's always what even when I used to read like literary fiction almost exclusively, those were always the parts of those stories that I gravitated to with the love relationships. So yeah,
Got you.
romance for me.
So wrapping it up, Miss Noué, I want to ask just a simple question. Why
Sure.
should people read Long Past Summer?
Okay. So if you want a story of, I'm not saying this myself, but I have been told a steamy story of a woman who is not necessarily going to be running back to the small town. She's a big city woman and she may or may not remain a big city woman. Having discovering herself, discovering her love, but before that happens, encountering a lot of angst and a lot of messiness and a lot of juicy stuff that you wanted to find out what happens. I think that you'd enjoy this book.
I think they will enjoy the book as well. Ms. Noué, thank you so much for coming on and speaking
Thank
to
you,
us
Malik, so
about,
much.
about your novel. We are supporting you here, Rolling Out. And I'm ready to dig into this book whenever it comes to rolling out. So thank you so much. Before you go, let the people know where they can find you on social media. Also where they can find the book as well.
Okay, well, the book is going to be available on August 2nd from all major retailers. It's I can be reached at Noué, so Noue Kirwan, Kirwan, same as in the book, on Instagram, uh, Twitter. I have a Facebook. Um, and I have nouekirwan.com is my personal website. So all of those, all your socials.
Definitely. Well, you heard it here first, people. You know where to find Long Past Summer. You know where to find Miss Noué. Thank you again for coming on, speaking with us
Thank you
about
for
it.
having me.
And you are amazing.
Thank you.
Always, thank you guys for checking us out. This is Rolling Out, Meet the Author. Malik Brown, my special guest, Miss Noué Kirwan, and we are out.